Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Comics Evolve, where we discuss all things around comics media culture with your hosts, Andy, Jarian, and Alex.
This is Comics Evolve with myself, Andy, Jarian, and Alex. We're here today to talk about Secret Invasion, that second trailer that dropped earlier this week. Let's get straight into the conversation. Jarian, I know you've got the synopsis for us. Let's go.
Yeah, so the plot synopsis for Secret Invasion is, in Marvel Studios' new series Secret Invasion, set in present-day MCU, Nick Fury learns of a clandestine invasion of Earth by a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls. Fury joins his allies, including Everett Ross, Maria Hill, and the Skrull Talos, who has made a life for himself on Earth. Together, they race against time to thwart an imminent Skrull invasion and save humanity.
Awesome. This project sounds amazing. Alex, what are you saying?
All right, so if you watch this trailer, it starts off right off the bat with, I think, the first explosion takes place in Russia, it looks like. And then I feel like this is kind of supported later on in the trailer, because it looks like you see Chernobyl, potentially, like the power plant. And then it also looks like in one scene, Fury's walking down the street, and there's also like a Russian flag or something in the background. So I think Fury ends up going to Russia and ends up spending a lot of time in Russia in this series. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's something to do with the Skrulls or doing something there. Maybe, I'm not sure. Anyway, one thing that I do want to kind of point out is I feel like after watching this trailer, I feel like the Super Skrulls are going to be a result of this rebel faction solely. And this is not going to be something that's going to be like all the Skrulls. This is going to be like something where we probably will not see Super Skrulls like we originally thought. Like, you probably won't see them like in the comics. This is going to be where like it's going to be like a dialed up Skrull, almost like able to like change their form, like not only into people, but maybe like shapes, maybe like stretch themselves. It's going to be kind of more of like a dialed up power set, I'm thinking. And I'm also kind of thinking that Talos and Fury are both going to get kind of drug out, and they're going to basically blame Fury for being a Skrull this whole time. And they're going to claim that Talos is that Skrull. And the Skrulls are all going to be impersonating world government people, and they're going to use that to drag Fury out to basically try and say, hey, he's the most wanted man. He's leading this Skrull invasion because he is a Skrull. You should go after him. And world governments around the world are going to make Nick Fury like number one most wanted man in the world, like Don Cheadle says.
Yeah, I was going to say Don Cheadle's character, James Rhodes, he says that in the trailer, doesn't he? He says, you're the most wanted man in the world. Why is he the most wanted man in the world? That makes perfect sense. I'm really, touching on what you said there about the Russian thing. I'm wondering whether that's the Skrulls kind of base
Complex.
of operations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Kingsley Ben-Adir, he's playing Gravik, the Skrull with the, at the end we see his extending arm. I'm wondering whether that's where they're going to base themselves out of.
I mean, you would have to think. You would have to think like Chernobyl's kind of a secluded place, so a lot of people would not go to Chernobyl to like explore, to look for anything. So if the Skrulls are trying to do some secret experiments, that might be a great place to do it. I also just happen to think that the explosion that happens is just like they're going to be doing that around the world. It's going to be like them destabilizing governments all at once.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a dual faction thing where you're going to have people inside the governments that are also part of the rebellion faction of Skrulls, who are also going to be kind of like pulling the strings to make sure the chaos just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, sure. We've got Olivia Colman as well. I mean, just talking about the cast, what a great cast. Samuel Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, Don Cheadle, Kingsley Ben-Adir. Just what a great cast. It's superb. But yeah, we've got Olivia Colman playing Sonya Falsworth. So we know that the name Falsworth ties into Captain America and James Falsworth from the Howling Commandos. She's working for MI6, I believe, isn't she? So I wonder whether we're going to see some sort of version of MI13, and we're going to start touching on that kind of, the sort of secret, the British Secret Service situation. I'm
And
not sure where we're going to go with that. Go on.
there's a nice little shout too there to Howling Commandos with Colonel Nick Fury on the tombstone too.
Yep.
Because Nick Fury was originally, I believe, a colonel when he was in the Howling Commandos. Of course, they changed him, and I'm not sure if this is supposed to be that Nick Fury. You know what I'm saying? Because he's technically like director at one point. So I'm not really sure if that would really be his grave. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. If that's like a family member, what the deal is. But there's some sort of significance to that grave in the trailer.
So two things real quick on that. You mentioned Olivia Coleman. Word on the street is she's a villain, and from that Vanity Fair article, there's a quote saying, "It's somebody that you've never seen her play before. She's cold-blooded and just relishes being that person." With that being said, back to the grave. Remember Winter Soldier at the very end when he told Sam and Steve, "You can find me right here." When they're at the after Hydra's done, all that kind of stuff, the gravesite. Is that the same gravesite from Winter Soldier that he was at the very end? So that's something interesting there too. Did he bury something there? Just something there that he needs, and that's why you show him back up there, or does someone know how to contact him through that gravesite there? I have to go back and watch Winter Soldier.
It looks like that in the trailer too. Like it looks like he goes there to get stuff out of like a grave or like some sort of place,
Tomb.
Yeah.
It's like he opens up the tomb and there's something in there, and he walks out and pops his collar, doesn't he? Yeah.
And then two, are they breeding Skrulls? Because it looks like, I think it was someone walks into that room and it looks like there's like those cases there. And are they actually breeding Skrulls or trying to make super Skrulls in that room?
Well, that leads me on to the briefcase. So there's the briefcase in there, and it's got Department of Damage Control on that briefcase, and something's going on. Have Damage Control been collecting powers? We saw that a little bit in Miss Marvel, didn't we? Where the fella from Damage Control has said, "Oh, we've not seen these powers before." So are they collecting powers to make some sort of Super Skrull, or try and make a Super Skrull serum, or and that's what's in the case, or? Yeah, and then are they trying it out on all of these Skrulls? Are they dead Skrulls? Are they Skrulls that they're experimenting on? Are they people that have had powers that they're taking?
There's
I
also,
think the trailer's time is very distorted as well, because 1 minute you've got Nick Fury with a big scruffy beard, the next minute you've got him with his goatee beard, then the next minute he's back with a big scruffy beard again. So obviously they're playing tricks of us in the trailer, which they always do in movies. We know this.
Are they playing tricks, or is it Nick Fury versus Talos being Nick Fury?
Oh, okay, yeah, potentially.
Or another Skrull being Nick Fury.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting situation that's going to come into play here, and it's if the Skrulls can frame Nick Fury and Talos as like the ones that are leading the charge here, then they can make all world governments go after them, and then all the good Skrulls that are actually not with the rebel faction actually go against them as well. So it makes basically them the enemy of everyone, of the Skrulls, of the humans, of the rebel faction. So in the trailer, when Fury's like, I can't really go to anybody else, this is why, is because he's isolated here. And that's why you see, I think, Everett Ross creeping around in the trailer, is because Everett Ross probably comes out of hiding from where he's been at in Wakanda, because Fury probably reaches out to him because he knows Ross is in the wind, and probably knows somehow to get in contact with him, and probably got in contact with him.
And I'm interested to see if Everett Ross is actually a Skrull. There's chatter out there that he is one, and it would kind of make sense with him kind of encouraging Wakanda to come out of the shadows and into the forefront as well.
Yeah, sure. It'd be interesting to see what he's been up to since Wakanda Forever. There is also we're getting James Rhodes, we're getting Rhodey back. Looks like he's taking up a more sort of governmental position, maybe somebody in an advisory type role. I'm not sure where he's going to sit at this point, but he looks like he's going to be trying to dissuade Nick from doing whatever Nick's trying to do.
I wonder if he's like a general or someone leading the armed forces at this time, because remember, he was a colonel as he started off in the MCU. Could he be higher up in the military, or could he actually be on Thaddeus Ross's cabinet? Maybe he's Department of Defense, Secretary of State, something along that lines as well. So interested to see how that, where he is in there, and how this transition into Armor Wars and also into New World Order as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think those two projects are gonna spurn out of this one. These couple of little moments in there that we don't really know what's going on. Do we see Emilia Clarke's Gaia character back to back with somebody who looks like Monica Rambeau? Could be that, you see the hair looks a little bit like Monica Rambeau in the background. The last time we saw Monica at the end of WandaVision, she was talking to a Skrull, and the Skrull was saying, someone wants to see you up there. Yep. Was she talking about Nick Fury? Are we going to see Monica in this series before we see her later on the year in the Marvels?
Also, think about this too. There was all that chatter about the engineer that helped Monica out in WandaVision, and it ended up being some random military person. Was that her and, taking another form, a Skrull, and kind of doing that too as well? Because everyone thought it was going to be like McCoy or somebody else, or even Richards, to kind of help her with that vehicle and her engineer friend. But that could have been Gia the whole time.
And I think Monica would be aware of the Skrulls. It seemed like, her and Maria were aware of the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, which was in the 90s. So, I mean, I'm sure that, it's not just Fury that is one of the humans that is pretty well in the know at this point. But I think that we're going to have a really interesting dichotomy of a problem happen where the Skrulls are going to be impersonating people. So when they actually get in fights and everything, obviously they're going to be fighting as people. So until the Super Skrulls make their appearances, they're going to think that these are just regular people. But then once the Super Skrulls make their appearances, they're going to think that these are humans with superpowers until they actually know for sure that these are potentially Skrulls. So from a general public perspective, you might just think that these are some sort of superhuman that are, out of control.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And you just touched on it there. Super Skrull. Are we seeing Kingsley Ben-Adir's character Gravik being a Super Skrull at the end there with that extending arm? Is he a sort of a precursor to Super Skrulls? The first Super Skrull maybe, or a prototype Super Skrull, or is this just an ability that he's got?
Yeah, it looks like he has some Groot-like powers in that one shot. The way his arm extends and the way it looks like almost the vines like Groot does. So that's interesting. There is some chatter going around though that Cull Obsidian's arm that was lost in Infinity War in the snow, that is one thing that could be used to help them get powers. There's some chatter going around today on that.
Wow, amazing! What a little nugget of information has been left there. Little teaser.
I also think it would be really interesting if we made a leap back to Extremis, and we have the explosion, and the explosion early on reminded me of the misfires of Extremis. So I was like, wouldn't it be interesting? I know the guy detonates it, but wouldn't it be interesting if we have something similar happen here, where we have Skrulls that misfire or something like that?
Well, we also saw too in Shang-Chi that there was still an Extremis fighter out there. He was fighting the Black Widow at that tournament thing. So even though Tony fixed Pepper and perfected it, we know that all of them probably didn't get fixed, and they're still out there. So maybe they got something for one of them as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think overall we can look at this project, and I mean, I for one am really excited about this. I think the tone is different from what we've had over the last sort of 18 months from Marvel content. I said before, I'm gonna say it again. This is a little bit like Marvel's Andor, if you will. They're taking on this more sort of espionage spy tone. There's government trust issues going on. I'm really looking forward to this project. This trailer is hyped to be big time. 21st of June, Disney Plus. Can't wait. It's going to be great. Any final words before we close this video up, Alex?
I'll throw one thing out there, and I think that this trailer, it kind of basically shows Nick Fury's kind of in a dark place, because he's going to feel like he brought this problem on to Earth. He basically early on in the 90s kind of helped roll out the red carpet for Skrulls to kind of be here, and now he's going to feel partly responsible for that. And I think that's going to put him in not only in their crosshairs, but also as I need to be the guy who fixes this. So that's where I think we are. For
sure. Jaren, any final thoughts?
This seems like a natural, with a huge step up transition to what we saw with the trust between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra, and that infiltration coming into Secret Invasion with the Skrulls invasion and governments and that kind of stuff. That same spy feel, but amp that up times 10, maybe even 100.
Fantastic. Yep, Can't wait. 21st of June, 6 episodes, Disney Plus. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. Catch us on Facebook, catch us on Instagram, Twitter, Trovo, Twitch, all the places we're there. Thanks for watching. See you again.
Bye.